How does Deborah refer to Sisera's mother at the end of her song? This is the question that we seek to answer today as we continue our verse-by-verse study of the book of Judges on Walking Through the Bible. Today we're going to be discussing Judges 5 verses 22 to 31, but before we do that, let's read the passage. If you have a Bible with you, you can turn to Judges 5 verse 22, but if you don't have a Bible, don't worry, just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So Judges chapter 5, beginning at verse 22. Then the horses' hooves pounded the galloping of their steeds. Curse Meroz, said the angel of the Lord. Curse its inhabitants bitterly, because they did not come out to the help of the Lord against the mighty. Most blessed among women is Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. Blessed is she among women in tents. He asked for water, she gave him milk. She brought out cream in a lordly bowl. She stretched her hand to the tent peg, her right hand to the workman's hammer. She pounded Sisera, she pierced his head. She split and struck through his temple. At her feet he sank, he fell, he lay still. At her feet he sank, he fell. Where he sank, there he fell dead. The mother of Sisera looked through the window and cried out through the lattice, "Why is his chariot so long in coming? Why tarries the clatter of his chariots?" Her wisest ladies answered her. Yes, she answered herself. Are they not finding and dividing the spoil? To every man a girl or two. For Sisera, plunder of dyed garments, plunder of garments embroidered and dyed, 2 pieces of dyed embroidery for the neck of the looter. Thus let all your enemies perish, O Lord. But let those who love him be like the sun when it comes out in full strength. So the land had rest for 40 years. Over the last 2 lessons, we've been studying about the Song of Deborah. This song is highly poetic, but it's a song of victory over Sisera and the Canaanites by the hand of the Lord. Israel had gone off into sin and even feared walking the main roads due to their oppression, but at their cries, God raised up Deborah to be their judge and their prophetess. She in turn enlisted Barak to lead the armies of Israel, and by the hand of the Lord, Sisera and his armies were defeated. However, not all Israel came to the aid of Deborah and Barak. The tribes east of the Jordan remained where they were, as did the tribes of Dan and Asher. The tribes of Judah and Simeon are omitted. For what reason? We're not entirely sure. Coming out of verse 22, we find how Deborah was talking about the enemy retreating, and that their horses were galloping away, carrying away the chariots with the mighty men on them. Of course, these men would later have been killed in battle, but as we can see, the victory over the Canaanites was total. In all that, though, the angel of the Lord, God himself, pronounced a curse on Meroz and their inhabitants for not coming to the aid of Israel. We're not entirely sure where Meroz is or whose people they were, but needless to say, they must have lived in the area in order for them to help. It's not that the Lord required their help, for he didn't, but their lack of concern for the people living among them is the reason for this curse. This is contrasted with the actions of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, the one who killed Sisera. Through her actions, she is said to be blessed among women. Now, we said in chapter 4 that she isn't to be praised for the method that she chose, for she was deceptive and she murdered Sisera in his sleep. However, her action, compared with Meroz's inaction, struck a fatal blow to the Canaanites, allowing Israel to win the overall battle against Jabin and the Canaanite oppression. So again, the ends don't justify the means, in that God holds people accountable for their sins. But from Deborah's standpoint, Jael was to be commended for standing with Israel and not with the Canaanites. The song closes with what Sisera's mother must be thinking. By saying this, Deborah is not stating something that she knows for certain, nor does it seem that she's being given some prophecy by God. She's simply stating what a mother would naturally think when her son does not come home when expected. What happened to him? What's wrong? After all, he's gone off into battle, and no matter how strong the army is, has he been captured? Or worse, killed? Her wise ladies, most likely meaning those who attended to her, tried to comfort her by saying that perhaps they're delayed because of all the bounty they had to divide up. They tried to get her to focus on what he could be bringing back and how much she would enjoy that. Often, when we have a feeling that something bad has happened, but we're not sure as of yet if it has, our friends will try to cheer us up by getting us to focus on a positive scenario instead of the negative. And while that sometimes works, and it turns out that our intuition is sometimes mistaken, in this case, Sisera's mother's intuition was not. If she had been waiting for him, she would not be comforted, for Jael killed him, and she would see Sisera's face no more. How sad it must have been for her to lose a son, just as it is for any mother, no matter how bad their sons may be. But to stand against the Lord is to put your life in your own hands, and Sisera was no different. However, to those who love the Lord, may they be like the sun when it comes out in full strength in the morning, a sign of victory through God. So that is the Song of Deborah, a beautiful song to say the least. The chapter closes by saying that the land had rest for 40 years, bringing our timeline down from 1184 BC to 1144 BC. We'll begin our look at Gideon, the Lord willing, in the next lesson. With that, our time is up for today. The Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of Judges chapter 6, verses 1 to 10, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time. Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope that you found it edifying and ask that you not only subscribe to our channel and podcast, but that you like and share this episode among your friends, so that the saving gospel of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.